Joining us now, I'm delighted, Mollie Hemingway, Fox News contributor and editor-in-chief of The Federalist, and David Schoen, former Trump impeachment lawyer. David, let's start with you on the legal case here, which I find extraordinarily weak. What do the people need to understand in layman's terms about how lame this is and how dangerous this is?
Let me focus on the danger of it, because you've hit the nail on the head with that and with the word extraordinary. This case is brought under New York Executive Law 6312. It gives the Attorney General, a politically partisan elected official, in this case extremely partisan, incredibly broad powers to ruin a life, ruin a career, etc. Then the case is assigned to a Trump-hating judge, also politically appointed, politically elected. And if you read a news article that appeared this weekend, he's shown a consistent antipathy against real estate developers during his entire career. Now, many people say, well, why is a judge deciding it, not a jury? The judge said earlier today that that's not his fault. No one asked for a jury trial. That's a bit disingenuous. It is true that President Trump's lawyers could have asked for a jury trial under Section 4102 of the New York CPLR, their rules. However, there's a case from 2011 that said under this executive law, 6312, there was no right to a jury because it's equitable. It's asking for injunctive relief, not damages. That's simply not true. They're talking about stripping Donald Trump of hundreds of millions of dollars, taking away a brand that's not just a New York brand, it's an international brand. But today, at least, it seems the judge finally got a clue on what's going on here, because they tried to take things back to 2011, and the Court of Appeals said nothing before 2014. So we'll see how it plays out. But you're right, it's extraordinarily dangerous.
Yeah, well, the appearance of bias and just corruption in this entire proceeding, Mollie, to keep on this issue for a moment, last night on 60 Minutes, Attorney General Garland denied that there's any, even a whiff of bias in these prosecutions. Watch.
We do not have one rule for Republicans and another rule for Democrats. We don't have one rule for foes and another for friends. We have only one rule. And that one rule is that we follow the facts and the law, and we reach the decisions required by the Constitution, and we protect civil liberties.
Mollie.
Yeah, this was propaganda that was aired last night in this interview with Merrick Garland. What we have right now, Merrick Garland is participating in the Democrat campaign strategy of indicting Trump, all over the place in the hope that they can get quick convictions and interfere in the election. That is objectively true. They are participating in this Democrat campaign strategy. He said that they don't have one rule for one group and one rule for another. You can just look at the Hillary Clinton situation. When she was Secretary of State, not president, when she mishandled classified information, when she obstructed the investigation, they came up with an entirely novel legal standard to let her off the hook. And then meanwhile, go after President Trump on these, on the
Hunter
issue
Biden,
of this.
and they're still trying to deny that some people that it's even his laptop.
And at the same time that, the sitting president has issues here. It is not. It's just so absurd to say there's not two standards when we're living through this every single day, and he should not be allowed to have this kind of flippant response to it.
Yeah, well, 60 Minutes was just a complete propaganda piece for the DOJ. And people say, oh, isn't it so nice that it's all even-handed?
And it's a real threat to the Republic, what we're going through. People have lost confidence in our Department of Justice. That's a very serious problem. The fact that Donald Trump is doing so well, not just in the Republican primary, but even in head-to-head matchups against Joe Biden, shows that the American people do not view these indictments as legitimate.
That's the damage they've done. It's like what the damage Fauci did, David, to the public health system in our country, and everything that we had heard about the pandemic. Now that was called into question, and now they're doing the same thing with the DOJ. But Mueller's former buddy, Andy Weissman, he doesn't believe Trump even has a defense in this case. Watch this.
In many ways, this trial's over. The judge has already ruled on the first of the claims against Donald Trump and his sons and his businesses. He's already lost with huge financial consequences that this judge has imposed.
David, you could sense the glee coming from that odious creature's voice. Your response?
I don't credit anything that Andrew Weissman says. I've had experience with him. He's the most ethically bankrupt prosecutor I personally have ever dealt with, in my view. So I don't credit anything he says. But one thing he's right about is this judge has usurped the role of experts in this case. The judge lost all credibility when he said Mar-a-Lago should have been valued at $18 million. He left out a few zeros. There's not a person on the face of the earth that would think Mar-a-Lago was valued at $18 million and therefore was overvalued on its stated value. That's just one example. But back to the timing you mentioned in your opening monologue. That's what proves the point about this, the agenda going on here. Donald Trump's been in business for decades, built his brand around the world. It's not coincidental that this case is brought with the 4 criminal indictments that are now brought during election season. There's nothing coincidental about it. It's all intentional. And we see all of the rules suspended. There's case law, Gansler case, and others that say a prosecutor can't speak this way to influence the public all of the time. They get this Attorney General James and the District Attorney in New York have gotten away with anything they want to say, and then they scream bloody murder and want a gag order. They put out these speaking indictments in the cases.
No, Trump can't speak though.
That's right.
Trump can't speak, but they never shut their mouths. Mollie, I mean, it's staggering.
And it's all based on this belief that Donald Trump needs to have not just his own income, but the income of all of these different people in his family destroyed because they politically disagree with him. That's not American.
He doesn't deserve to have a company or to have an address in New York. They want to drive him out of New York City and drive him into bankruptcy, then put him in jail so he can't become president. I mean, this is crazy land. But I think that people are onto this. Dave and Mollie, great to see you both.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.